Greetings everyone, I am Lunar Kitten Zero, and today we are checking out Konrad Curze, Curze? I'm not sure how to say that. The Night Haunter by the Remembrancer. As you can see, Konrad has made an appearance today. He chased off Sanguinius and decided to perch on my head. And for those of you who might be a little confused, from my older videos, if you take a peek, you will see that I do draw chibis of the Primarchs, and I had this one done a very long time ago, and he's the only other one next to Sanguinius that I actually have fixed up to work with my model. Maybe in time I'll get the other Primarchs to work, but currently I only have two, Konrad and Sanguinius. And Konrad only got this spot because I like his armor and I like drawing him. It was fun. But what I do know about Konrad is he had visions and it, I guess, drove him crazy. I'm not really sure. So I'm excited to get into this video and find out more. So no more rambling from me. Let's get to it.
It has been said by the tacticians throughout the ages of mankind that no plan survives contact with the enemy. I do not waste my time countering the plans of my foes, brother. I never care for what they intend to do, for they will never be allowed to do it. Stir within their hearts the gift of truest terror, and all their plans are ruined in the desperate struggle merely to survive.
Oh, okay, so Konrad said that. Interesting.
The sons of the Emperor would all shoulder a burden during the years of their infancy. Raised on feral, feudal, and even death
I think that was
worlds, each Primarch would be molded
Turbo.
by the environment to which he would grow. Yet it cannot be denied the lot of some Primarchs would be...
He's showing pictures. I think the first one might have been the lion. I think that was Leo. The other one I think is Peter Turbo, and this one, I know it. Why can't I? I recognize the picture. I know this picture. Oh no, my brain, no. How dare you fail me at this moment? I know this. Because he was on a gladiator style world, I think. Oh, let me know in the comments. My brain has completely forsaken me. I cannot think of who his name is, just completely blank.
starkly worse than others. For not all the Emperor's offspring will be fostered by kind or benevolent fathers. For today, we shall elucidate the creature born of crime,
yeah, we know who that is.
And spite.
Horse, the jerk.
The Night Haunter of Nostramo.
Okay.
Konrad Curze.
Okay, let me move. First of all, you guys can see my model and that. I even got the tiny, you might not be able to see it on my model, but on my tiny chibi ear of Konrad, I actually have that skull on the shoulder. It's on the opposite shoulder, but the point is I did get the skull in there. And the red cape, too. That's behind my ears, but trust me, it's there. Dude, just look at this. And it's funny because the Blood Angels are more of a vampire, but he looks... GW likes to mess with me. It's like, hey, you see these holy guys? Yeah, they're the vampires. You see these really straight up vampire coded guys? Yeah, they're not vampires. Either way, just looking at that, could you imagine seeing a movie and just seeing that scene right there? Oh, that would be so awesome, especially if you get like some of the older style animation. Maybe I don't want to say Spawn animation, but that could be a one. Definitely something that's really stylized, strong, would pull out just the awesomeness of this picture. I don't even have to explain why it's awesome. Just looking at it, I'm pretty sure you guys can come up with a million things of why this picture is badass. And for the few of you who are like, I don't get it, it's okay. Not all of us have gothic dark hearts. but mine is soaring right now. I love this. And the dude even has fabulous hair. Like, why is it the ones that are kind of evil, I guess you could call them, why do they always get the fabulous hair? Is like a bonus? Like, you know, the dark side comes with cookies, where in 40K, the warp comes with fabulous hair. Well, not all of them, because we know quite a few are bald. But, looking at you, Horace. But, I'm starting to think maybe it's kind of a perk. Maybe that's why some of them are ticked, because you got like Fulgrim and now Konrad with really nice hair, and then you got grumpy butts like Horace just over there crying and no fabulous hair. But you know what? There is some that can rock the shiny top and actually look really good. Just Horace does not make it look good. He ruins it for bald men. I'm just saying. He does not do them any favors. But let me get back over here. Boop, and we'll continue.
Of all the Primarchs of his Imperium, the child of the 8th Legion would be raised on the most inhospitable and wretched of worlds.
Oh, that's not good.
The world of Nostramo would be coated in endless night.
I've heard this name before.
Its lullabies of the screaming of the murdered, the only solace for the inhabitants of the world. Save in the knowledge that another had died in their place that night, the Nostramans would live in an existence steeped in violence, depravity, and lawlessness.
That sucks.
The Primarch of the 8th Legion would descend upon the planet, his gestation pod crashing through its polluted hide of the planet's largest city,
that is really
Nostramo
cool
Quintus. Burrowing through the urban architecture, the gestation pod dived into the planet's crust and halted near the liquid molten core of Nostramo. Born into a world of darkness, the infant Primarch would claw his way to the surface through the scar carved through the adamantium and mineral-rich earth. Reaching the surface, the child would be confronted by a crazed inhabitant of the planet. Seeking to consume the child for his ripe, fresh meat, the first act of the child would be to defend himself from the murderous intent of his first contact with humanity.
What? Like, you guys all told me I was going to be really surprised when I get to Konrad about his origins. That was an understatement. So let me get this straight. So, when he got knocked to this planet, it burrowed, not even burrowed, either way, impact all the way deep down to basically like the molten core. Then he had to claw his way out of there, basically like climbing your way out of a grave. And he gets to the surface. He runs into a crazy guy who wants to eat him, because apparently this planet is really, really crap. And his first interaction with humanity is they're trying to eat him and he has to kick its butt. Wow. First of all, that did make me think oddly of the Sabbat, kinda, in Vampires the Masquerade Bloodlines. I'm thinking the old school. I'm not very familiar, as you guys know, with current Vampire the Masquerade, like how the canon and lore is now. I'm thinking from the game Bloodlines, where at that time period for Masquerade, and that sounds a lot Sabbat coded of initiation by fire. You survive, you're good. If not, well, cannon fodder. This dude, little Konrad on my head, I'm starting to get why you might have issues. Like out of all the Primarchs who've had really kind of crappy upbringing that I've learned about so far, I think yours is starting to be the worst. If I had a tier list of who had the worst spawn RNG, I'm starting to think he did.
Slaying the would-be cannibal, the child would swiftly come to realize the twisted morality of his planet. Nostramo was a world drenched in despair, with no authority or power capable of culling the malevolent and desperate criminals of the planet. Poverty would be rife within the planet's society, with its main productivity derived from the world's mining industry, allowing the tormented populace to eke out a humble existence. The minority of the society would grow bloated with wealth and exploit the lawless underhives and their overpopulated
they have a
peoples.
hut.
With no soul on the planet, willing nor capable of adopting the young
really cool
Primarch,
picture.
the child would survive alone. His wits and instincts allowing the Primarch to survive of the vermin and carrion of the planet within the darkness. Plagued by visions of a future he did not comprehend, the Primarch would begin to forge an identity befitting his dour and nihilistic existence.
Okay, does anybody else think like that scene right there looks like the beginning of a really like awesome dark anime from the 90s? Like, think the old Gargoyles, like if they just went hardcore with it. Like I could totally see that being Goliath. Man, now I'm kind of like, that would be so cool. But very good picture. I just love the monster's nature, you know, and the shadows. You don't even see a face. You just get that silhouette, the way the light hits it. And again, it's a black and white picture, so I'm a sucker apparently for these sketchy, or I guess they look like sketches, but it's not a sketch. Either way, black and white pictures. I forget what they're called, but yeah, just the way the light's hitting it, and you just get enough definition to know what you're looking at, but not so much as you get every single detail. It's just beautifully done. And already I'm really excited that I've dove into this one. It's making my little gothy heart happy, because it feels like we're in some kind of, well, grimdark, but no, like gothic, dark, you know, city, kind of like probably why I like Gotham from Batman, because it is such a depressing place in a way, but it's just architecturally like pleasing, which is interesting. And of course you have the poor versus, you know, the fat cats living up there in the high life, and all the corruption and crime and just the chaos of it all. And he's not going to be a Batman. I don't expect him to be like, you know, the what the city needs. No, I think they made a monster. Like, they already created monsters. He's going to be the monster of the monsters, I have a feeling.
The Night Haunter.
Night Haunter. Okay.
The feral scavenger of Nostromo would begin to form a reputation among the populace. Sightings of an uncanny presence atop the roofs and slums of Nostromo Quintus would abound, with tales of a monster preying on the most dangerous of society. The screams of the Night Haunter's victims are balm to his anxieties, and dreams of countless dead upon unknown worlds shaping the Primarch's personality. Isolation and nightmare.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's getting ready to say it, but I was about to say, did he say, like, dreams? So it sounds like that's the visions, like he's getting the visions of the future.
As would be his only allies within the shadows of the abandoned derelicts to which the Night Haunter would
another
rest.
Beautiful picture.
Yet with time, the Primarch of the Eighth would grow in both stature and infamy, until the entire planet knew of his deeds. Disgusted at the criminality of his homeworld, the Night Haunter would hunt the delinquents and felons of the hives. Consuming the brain matter of his victims, the Night Haunter would digest the populace's language, memories and sins due to his homophagia organ, and the Primarch would experience firsthand the depravity and weakness of his people.
I don't think I was prepared for this. You guys tried to prepare me. I don't think I was. So he didn't like the criminal element, so he went out and hunted them, and then he ate their brains, so like a zombie. And so he's like a gothic zombie. Wow, that's actually kind of cool. Like a vampire gothic zombie, but he's not a vampire, because that's what the Blood Angels are. So he's got the look of a vampire, but acts like a zombie. GW really messing with me on this one. But, so he eats their brains and gets their memories and all that stuff, and he gets more ticked off at them because he, understands more about them from eating their brains, and is disgusted by them, which is funny coming from the guy eating the brains. See, what did I say just a second ago about making a monster of monsters? Look at the picture. It speaks volumes. Also, the picture before this. Nope, no, that one. That one is really, really good. I just, that silhouette again. No solid details, just the way the light's hitting just the bits of surface so you can make out what it is. Just really nice. Just, yeah. But, yeah, Monster of Monsters. Okay, let's continue. But man, I have already been mind blown so far. I was not prepared for some of this. Whew.
And the Primarch would experience firsthand the depravity and weakness of his people. Sickened at the deeds of his homeworld's people, the Night Haunter would enact his own dark crusade to purge all crime from the planet.
Oh, okay.
Merciless and savage in his dealings, the Night Haunter would purge the world of swathes of the populace's most revered and notorious criminals. The tales of the avenging spectre of the planet would be hushed by the civilians within the hives, and it would not be long until the gangs of Nostromo would band together to hunt the creature down. Slaying any who would attempt to end his crusade, the Night Haunter would leave a sole survivor of each failed battle. Severing their hands and gouging their eyes, the survivors of his wrath would return to their masters bearing a simple message: I am coming for you.
Wow. So, couple of thoughts. One is, this is really, really cool, and I would love to read comics of this. This would just sound so great. Also, he's like if Batman just went unhinged. Maybe I wasn't wrong about the Batman analogy. Because Batman lives by a code of honor, and he tries not a code of honor, but he has a moral code. And normally, depends on your Batman, but normally Batman doesn't kill anybody. And he beats up the bad guys, but he has a line he doesn't cross. Sounds like Konrad's what would happen if Batman said F it. Like, screw morality, screw the line, nothing's unethical, these things are nothing, and I'm going to do whatever I want to them to obliterate them. Get rid of what I consider disgusting bad criminals. You're gone. Like, if he passes judgment on you, that's it. You're screwed. I mean, just looking at this scene, first of all, I gotta keep reminding myself, these Primarchs are huge. These are like big dudes, and she's like a tiny lady. I mean, to be honest, she's probably taller than I am. So I'm just thinking, like, where my model is compared to him, that's probably what I would look like. My little 5'1" self next to him. I'd be like, oh crap. I would not be a criminal, so I would hope I'm fine. Though I just would not want to be near or around when he's doing his thing, because there's no way it's safe. Plus, he eats brains. That probably gets messy everywhere. But, yeah, man, I'm just, this has, if you guys read anything with Konrad, like, have you, is it like, what, like reading a crime thriller or I'm just curious at what style they tell his stories in, because I feel like it would just lend to so many mediums. You would have like crime stories or like a noir or a what is the word I'm looking for? Like a story, like a comic story. I'm just curious, and let me know if you're a fan of the Night Lords, because I'm gonna be honest. I thought they were cool just by looking at them. What little bits I learned about them, I knew they were very dark, and a lot of you guys were like, brace yourself because you actually don't know his origin and stuff. Y'all didn't warn me enough. But even knowing it, for those who thought I was going to go, ugh, and run away, yeah, no. I'm over here like, this is awesome. He is kicking butt. I like the anti-hero dark, not even heroes. Well, technically he's heroes getting rid of criminals. Either way, I like the darker type characters, villains, heroes. It's just when they turn off that morality and stop giving an F. It's just sometimes fun to watch somebody tear some stuff up just because, it's fun to watch or read about. But yeah, we're going to keep going.
Instilling terror within Nostromo,
the
Night Haunter would slowly erode and silence the corruption of the ruling elite. Leaving their hanged bodies atop the hive's highest windows, often maimed and flayed in horrific displays, within a year of his reprisal, crime would cease. Confronting the rulers of the planet, the Night Haunter would make a simple demand: obey the law of the Night Haunter, or be judged.
Yes,
Cowed by fear, the Nostramans would relent and allow for the ascension of the so-called Dark King to rule their world. The first monarch of Nostromo would diligently work to restructure his fiefdom.
Okay, first of all, before we continue, look at his face. I don't know why. He's just got almost a Joker-esque face, so maybe that's why it makes me laugh. But the way his position is on the throne, I think it's supposed to be like he's leaning forward, intimidating, but it looks like he's about mid-laugh, like he's getting ready to lean forward and then throw his head back and laugh. That's what I see in my head, so that's why I giggled. Either way, again, the red cape. It's awesome. I'm curious of how the planet handled after he joins the Emperor. I'm sure we're gonna find out some stuff here in a moment, but like, does it delve back into being crime infested if he's not around? Curious.
Consuming the planet's historical archival knowledge with ravenous hunger and murdering the last remaining criminal elements within the hives, it would not be long until the Night Haunter would dominate the populace completely. Ruling with temperance, unheard of by Nostraman standards, the civilians would share their wealth equally among themselves. For should they own too much, they would fear reprisal from their Dark King.
Don't get too rich or he'll come for you.
The planet's fortunes would abound, the fear instilled within them progressively allowing for years of prosperity and industrious toil. Broadcasting the screams of his final victims across every home of the world as a reminder that none would escape his justice, the Dark King had achieved his goal of total obedience. For decades, the Night Haunter would have no need to hunt prey, for none would dare to defy the will of the Dark King. Yet with the arrival of the Emperor of Mankind to the planet, Nostromo's future would be sealed by its own prophecies that the Emperor would cause their downfall. Foreseeing his father's eventual reunion, the Night Haunter would prepare. Upon the Emperor's arrival, the inhabitants of Nostromo would be unable to look in the direction of the being of gleaming light.
Wait, so the Emperor personally showed up like a glowing beacon, and people are like, you know what, that's too bright. We live in a world of darkness. The sun has come out. We know too much. At least that's how I'm interpreting it, but interesting.
The so-called Delegation of Light would see the populace weep at the arrival of the father of their benevolent dictator, and blind any who looked directly upon his visage. Met by the Primarchs Rogul Dawn, Lorgar Aurelian, Ferrus Manus, and Fulgrim.
Fulgrim? Really? Who brought him? But Rogul Dawn was there. So he brought Primarchs to pick up his son. Is this the first time I'm hearing about this happening? Because I swear in the other ones that I've learned about, they never said any other Primarchs were there when the Emperor picked up a Primarch. So this is interesting.
The Night Haunter would envision dark portents of each of their futures. Meeting the Emperor of Mankind, the Night Haunter would be overwhelmed by a vision so terrible he would sink to his knees and attempt to claw his own eyes from their sockets.
Yeah, that's sad. We don't
ending his torment with a touch of his hand, the Emperor would utter, "Be at peace, Konrad Curze. I have arrived, and I intend to take you home."
Basically, Daddy's here.
Submitting to the Emperor of Mankind, the Night Haunter would refuse to adopt his supposed name, given by his father. Brought to Holy Terror to study the doctrines of the Legiones Astartes under the tutelage of the Phoenician, Fulgrim, Konrad Curze would with time be installed as the leader of his legion. Naming them the Night Lords, the 8th Legion would quickly become synonymous with brutal and decisive victories.
And awesome looking armor. I can speak. I'm getting distracted. Look at that. It's the bat wings right there on the helmet and the glowing red eyes. And again, the skulls. Somebody said it in a comment not that long ago, and to that person, thank you, because now I will think it every time, and I'm going to share that with the world, which is, in 40K, skulls is basically like glitter. It's on everything. And yes, the glitter skull thing, yes. Now I wonder if Fulgrim would do that. He would probably have a, like, bejeweled, glittered skull. Anyways, Night Lords have one of the most badass looking armor. Not the best. I don't know who has the best. Well, if I had to be biased, it would be obviously Blood Angels. But I have to admit, it's just the vampire aesthetic. I'm a sucker for it. And it's just really cool looking. But then again, you can't go wrong with bat wings. It worked for Batman. It worked for Dracula. It's just, you can't go wrong with a good pair of bat wings.
A humorless, yet efficient army, the Night Lords would employ torture, terror tactics, and merciless persecution of any dissenting opposition.
Okay.
Yet with the absence of the Night Haunter, his homeworld of Nostramo would descend once more into rampant criminality with his absence.
So exactly what I said was going to happen. If he's not there, they're all just going to go right back to what they were doing. See, again, this is my argument that happened with, I think it was Peter Turbo's stepdad. If you're a leader, make sure you have a system in place, like a plan, B, C, D, E, F, all the way through the alphabet. That if you're not on your seat of power, that there will be another who will step in and run it and keep things from falling apart and destroying, well, your legacy. They never do it. They never think beyond that of, I got the throne and I'll rule forever kind of thing. Just, they never do. And if they do, it's, in some cases they do. But when they do, they always choose like an idiot. Somebody who never keeps the throne well or is just not strong enough. You got to make sure your systems are in place. Got to think these things out. I'm wondering if any of the Primarchs pulled that off. Well, I know a few of them did. I don't think... Well, not everybody's planet was crappy as this one, so... I was going to say I don't think the Lion's planet went to crap after he was gone, but it wasn't really that bad of a planet other than the harshness of it. So, can't really compare that. Yeah, but I'm just... If he had visions and he knew his dad was coming, he should have made plans for how to stop it from going back to the criminal state. Maybe he'll come back with this legion and deal with it. Or maybe after some time his legion by itself will go there and deal with it. Or, unfortunately, like most of these planets, it might get blown up and might not be there anymore. We'll see.
Claiming the Night Lords to be nothing more than murderers, gifted with the strength of godlike beings, the Nabal of Nostramo would rebel. Konrad Curze would regard his sons in a similar manner, seeing them as unworthy, yet necessary tools to bring compliance to the lawlessness of the galaxy.
Oh.
Believing peace could only be achieved through methods of instilling terror within non-compliant worlds.
That's a beautiful
picture. The Night Haunter would slay his own legionaries, should they delight in the act of mutilation and slaughter for their own personal gratification.
Hold up. So, he was disgusted by his own legion, but found them a necessary tool. Sounds like he's taking after his dad a little bit. And with the tool part, not the disgusted part. And if they got happy in the killing that they did, like enjoyed it, like a psycho or like murder happy, he got rid of them. Wow. This is definitely not the Legion you want to be in. If you're I like to hurt things because, yeah, no. But this picture is really, really nice. It's not just the coloring, it's just the positioning, the fire, all of it's really good. You got even that spark coming off of the shoulder there of one of the Night Lords. It's really good. Yeah, I like this artwork. I love so much artwork, but this artwork for the Night Lords is probably one of my top faves. It's just always really fun to look at, and it just, to be honest, always kind of badass too. This one's so good, but we'll keep going.
Instilling within his legion that such methods were merely tools to achieve peace, Curze would be disgusted at his son's flagrant degeneracy. Bringing worlds into compliance through many atrocities, though his brother Primarchs would decry his methods, Curze would maintain that his actions, though harsh, would allow for the least amount of bloodletting. Hypocritical in his own enjoyment of inflicting pain onto his victims, the Night Lords would only disguise their enjoyment of their craft from their gene father. Their sinister nature left unaddressed by their Primarch due to the constant harassment of his own visions of the future. The Nostraman recruits to the Night Lords would further exacerbate their legion's downfall, as each initiate would encompass their homeworld's descent back into delinquency. The rot had been set within the 8th Legion, and with the preponderance of the Legion now born of Nostramo and its culture, the downfall of the Night Haunter would be inevitable.
Okay, so they were hiding that they're into what they're doing. He argued that they need to do it, like, he didn't obviously notice it, but he was arguing with the other Primarchs and stuff that their brutality was needed in order to basically hurt 100 people now to save 1,000 people later, kind of deal. And then, if that wasn't enough, then he starts putting people from Nostramo into the Legion, which was a bad call there, and they immediately just went back to their old nature of being vicious, violent, and really twisted. And you could see from this, as it said, it pretty much brought the rot and everything. Yeah, I can see why. If I'm right, they're one of the Chaos Legions, right? Because I first of all, this it's got spiky bits on it, and you guys told me the more spikes, the more chaos. But there's no way something that's going down this path doesn't lead to a Chaos God. It's just pretty much walking the Yellow Brick Road straight to the Wizard, but in this case, straight to a Chaos God.
Tormented by visions of betrayal and fratricide, the Night Haunter would delve further into the clutches of madness.
Oh.
Confiding in his mentor, Fulgrim, the Primarch of the 3rd Legion would relay the Night Haunter's mad ravings to the Primarch of the Imperial Fists, Rogel Dorn. Incensed at the slight made against his brethren and the Emperor, Dorn would confront Konrad Curze. Found unconscious with deep gouges left in his torso, the Primarch of the 7th Legion would lay at the side of Konrad Curze.
Wait, so let me follow that one. So Konrad is having these bad dreams, and he goes and tells Fulgrim. Fulgrim's like, oh, and goes and tells Dorn. Dorn is like, how dare he think those things of, the Emperor and my brothers. I'm going to go talk to him about this. As if it's his fault for having visions. I don't think Dorn thought that one out very well. Dorn shows up, gets his butt handed to him by Curze, and ends up with like big gashes and at his feet. Is it me, or does Dorn really the king of getting his butt kicked? I mean, we know he gets back up again, because that's just kind of his thing, get knocked down and get back up again. But, man, does he really get his butt handed to him a lot. I mean, you had it happen in the Iron Cage, you had it happen with, oh, who was it he was fighting that took him out in the end? That, whoever that was that took him out. And now you have him going against, before any of that, going against Konrad and getting his butt kicked in. Yeah, so Dorn just needs to, I think, work on his strategy or something, because he really is the king of getting beaten up and then has to get up like, that didn't hurt, and okay, you got giant gashes in you, but no, you're fine. It's just, it amuses me. Yep, get knocked down and back up again. That's Dorn.
Weeping and racked with guilt, Curze would be imprisoned for his assault of his brother. As the Primarchs discussed the means of how to deal with their brother, the Night Haunter would escape his bonds and slay the Imperial Fist Huskarls stationed to guard his chambers.
Well, that sucks to be his guard.
Escaping with his legion, the Night Haunter would travel to his homeworld to seek solace. Yet upon arrival to Nostromo, Konrad Curze's remaining sanity would break.
Not surprised.
During 984.M30, the Night Haunter would discover the fate of Nostromo. Once more corrupted by ceaseless crime, the vengeance of the Primarch of the 8th Legion would be unequivocally merciless.
I bet you before he even says the rest of this, let me guess what has happened here. Is that he came back, and he was already on the verge of going crazy because of all the visions and stuff happening to him. He gets here and loses it because he left. It's like you left the house for 5 minutes, come back, and it's wrecked. That's it, you snap. You have a crash out. He crashes out hard. And I have a feeling he goes scorched earth. He starts taking out everybody. And I wonder if anybody survives, if the planet's even going to survive this. He is, because there's one thing about Primarchs you don't want them really ticked off, and you don't want them to have a crash out like this, because they're basically demigods going on a rampage. And man, this planet is so screwed.
Firing laser bombardments into the rings in the planet's surface, originally made by the Primarch's gestation pod, Nostromo's molten core would detonate.
Oh!
With Imperial pursuit craft sent in the wake of Rogel Dawn's injuries,
I called it.
Witnessing Nostromo's destruction, the depravity of the Night Haunter would soon be relayed to the Emperor.
So basically he went back and went, you know what, this place is just beyond saving, blow it up. He went like nuclear. I said scorched earth. I was not wrong.
Recalled to Holy
that's
Terror,
a nice picture.
Konrad Curze would answer for his crimes. Explaining to the Emperor that his actions were justified, Curze would accuse the Imperium of hypocrisy in their own dealings of bringing worlds into compliance and utilizing exterminatus to any whom would deny the imperial truth.
Oh, well, good point.
His excuses would not satisfy the judgment of the Imperium, and as a result, the Imperium would deny the 8th Legion supplies to their dominions and banish them from the forefront of the Great Crusade. Yet despite his punishment, Curze would seek vindication for his actions. And soon, an opportunity for revenge would present itself.
Yep, when he goes on the other side.
Heresy,
yeah,
perpetrated by the War Master of the Imperium, Horus Lupercal, would coincide with the prophesized visions of the Night Haunter. Believing his visions to be unchangeable, the Primarch of the 8th Legion would surrender all responsibility for his actions and side with the traitor war effort. Choosing to enact his vengeance against the Emperor, Konrad Curze would lead his men to the Battle of Istvan V. aiding the traitorous betrayal of the loyalist forces of the Iron Hands, Salamanders, and Raven Guard, the Night Lords would revel in their slaughter of the Imperium's noble sons. As the Night Lords butchered the loyalist Astartes, Lorgar Aurelian, Primarch of the Word-Bearers, would battle the Raven Lord of the 19th Legion. Besting the bearer of the word in combat, the Urizen's life would be spared by Konrad Curze, who would duel his rival in darkness, Corvus Corax, in Lorgar's place. Their claws struck, and despite Corax's speed, the Night Haunter would grab his brother by the wrist. Escaping Curze's grasp with the use of his jump axe, the Primarch of the Raven Guard would not risk dueling the Dark King of Nostramo. With the death of the Gorgon and flight of the Raven Lord.
Okay. So basically the Horus Heresy begins. They get in a fight. He goes against Corvax, which those two could look like they could have been twins in my head, because they both kind of have a similar vibe. The other one's like, no, I'm not fighting him, and gets out of there. And after we hear about this, what has made me giggle so much is this picture right here. Look at the smug smirk of, yeah, that's right, you better run. That's what I'm thinking. That had to be the look he had on his face when that dude bailed out. And he's like, yeah, I know I'm good. But, you know, oddly enough, I can see from his point of view why he sided with the traitors. I mean, he's like, yeah, I blew the planet up. It was a crap place that just went all criminal. And he's like, you know, it's no different than the Imperium, that when a planet says, no, we're not going to follow you, you guys kind of have your Inquisitors just go zappy zappy, and there goes the planet. So I do get why he saw it this way. But to be honest, I also feel like the route he was on, anything would have justified. I've been enough justification for him to switch. He was already going down the crazy road to begin with. So, but I get the logic. But I feel like even without that logic, he would have just hit that spot. Either way, this picture's just awesome. The blood on the claws and the skull there is just really good. But that smirk got me, man. I'm just imagining that had to be the face he made when Corvus ran. It's like, yeah, it's so good.
Curze would find a new subject for his depraved tortures and mutilations.
Oh?
The Primarch of the 18th Legion, Vulcan.
Uh-oh.
Aboard his flagship, Nightfall, Curze would attempt to break the will of the Primarch of the Salamanders. Finding the Primarch of the 18th to bear the gift of a perpetual, Vulcan's body, no matter how many times it would perish, would rebuild itself and bring new life. Seeing an opportunity to torment his noble brother forevermore, the Night Haunter would delight in slaying his defenseless brother time and again.
See, this is where his logic breaks. So, he doesn't want his legion to take joy into doing stuff like that. Yet when he finds a brother who can't die, he's like, well, it doesn't count because he can't die. You're doing the same thing even if he can't die. See, that's broken logic. That's that parent thing of do what I say but not what I do. Yeah. That never works. That's a bad Konrad. That's terrible parenting. But then you're a crazy guy who grew up in a really, really bad spot. Like, I still think RNG-wise, he got, like, probably the worst. I'm sure I will learn about others who had really bad starts too. But if I was ranking it, he's definitely towards the top. But, whew. Yeah. No. He's just... his logic's a little flawed.
For months, the Night Haunter would devise the means for the mutilation and execution of his brother, sating his sadism with increasingly extravagant displays of torture until growing weary of his relentless returns. Tearing him limb from limb, riddling his body with bolter shells, and even disintegrating him within the ship's engine shafts, no matter the cause of death, Vulcan would be resurrected. Unable to break the will of the Lord of Drakes, His attempts to break Vulcan with a variety of methods would always fail.
And again, this is what I like. That is the face I'm picturing that Vulcan made every time Konrad was like, why won't you just die? Or just like gets frustrated, because even though Konrad knows he can't die and that's why he's enjoying it, after a while he's probably getting frustrated, because you will, you can only play with the toy for so long before you get bored of it. And I just picture that's his face, like, yeah, you didn't break me. You might have broke my body, but you didn't break me. And just picture that had to be the slight smirk he had of, yeah, you didn't win. I have not learned about Vulcan yet, other than bits and pieces. This is probably the most I've heard about him, and already I like this guy. He sounds awesome.
Devising a final trial to end the Perpetual Primarch's resolve, Curze would beseech the Primarch of the Iron Warriors, Perturabo, to construct a labyrinth to destroy Vulcan's resolve.
A labyrinth?
Teasing at the center of the labyrinth Vulcan's personal warhammer, Dawnbringer, Curze would not expect the Primarch of the Salamanders to reach his prize. Yet with tireless, unrelenting drive, Vulcan would reclaim Dawnbringer.
Oh.
The warhammer had been fitted with a secret teleporter within its construction, and after attempting to prevent Vulcan's escape, Curze would be struck by Dawnbringer before Vulcan would activate its teleporter and escape to the Ultramar system.
Okay, that was cool. So, Curze decided, hey, I'm going to build a labyrinth and torment him through this labyrinth, and he'll never reach his precious hammer. Ha ha ha. Not only did he survive all that and get to the hammer, he made sure to hit him with the hammer before, like, I'm out. Just smack, and then he left. That is awesome. I thought he was kind of interesting before. Now I really think Vulcan is very interesting. I've not heard a lot about him. You guys haven't really mentioned a lot in the comments about him, but I think he's pretty cool. I'm sure Konrad's not going to take this well. Just, no. I'm sure his pride and ego is not feeling too good from that hit. And if they're anything like their dad, which most of the time they are, he's not going to react well to it at all. Like, no. I have a feeling another possible crash out might be coming from this.
In the wake of the Night Haunter's ever-increasing distractions during the Traitor War effort, War Master Horus Lupercal would dispatch the Night Lords at the forefront of their push to Holy Terror, sending a message across the stars that any whom did not kneel would be gifted untold miseries. The Night Lords would enact the War Master's remorseless will. Harbingers of the traitor's bloodlust and cruelty, the Night Lords would for months be unopposed in their campaign of defilement.
So Horus, as we know about him, put them at the front to basically as a scare tactic, and also because they're really good at what they do. I have to admit, not a bad plan. I mean, if you got it, use it. But I haven't commented in a bit here on art, but I have to on this one. Ooh, sorry, I just had a drink of water. This is, again, I know it's another black and white one, but it's so well done. You got that shaft of light coming down on the shoulder. You got the glowing eye. You got that foggy light kind of in the back. This is really, really good. And of course, you see all the spikes, and I think that little symbol there. Everything screams Chaos Legion to me. But the way it's got the chains and everything, I'm not sure what he's doing, but it's intense, and you probably don't want to be around for whatever he's doing. It's not going to go well for you. But yeah, I find this all so beautiful to look at. Especially got that stretch of I thought first that was cloth, but now I realize it's a stretched out face. So that's skin. And that's interesting. See, because this is black and white. So without that, you could, like I did for a second, mistaken it as like just shreds of like, you know, cloth there. But nope, that's a stretched out face. I'll move so you guys get a better view of it. Yeah, you can see the mouth, the eyes, the nose. That guy did not have a good day meeting this dude. Yeah, I really did think that was cloth at first, but now, no. When it comes to the Night Lord, never assume anything is just something normal. Or that, you know, it might not be, you know, like, oh, he's wearing leather. Yeah, what's that made from? That's not cow. But, very, very awesome artwork. I told you, man, the Night Lords have some of the best art that I've seen. A lot of the other art is really, really cool, but the dark aesthetic of the Night Lords lends well to so much art. And this is another piece that is just really, really fun to look at. Especially with all the detail. You can see the little skull and bat wings right there on the back of the hand. Just, and that just touch of red. That just red eye. That menacing red eye. Love it.
Yet within the Framas sector, the Night Lords would be halted by the First Legion, the Dark Angels.
Oh.
For 3 Terran Standard years, the First and Eighth Legions would wage a bitter war. Nobility and discipline would face opprobrium and barbarity. Leading his men during the Framas Crusade, Konrad Curze would delay the Dark Angels from interfering with the plots of the War Master. Under the command of their Primarch, Lionel Johnson, the First Legion would prove to be more than a match for the Night Lord's underhanded tactics and cunning. Attempting to sway the Lion to join the War Master's cause, Curze would parley with the Lord of the First. On the planet of Sagwalza, the Primarchs would face each other. The Lion would reject the Night Haunter's offer and attempt to slay Curze.
Kitty versus Bat.
The Lion's sword would clash against Curze's lightning claws, mercy and forgiveness. 2 of the greatest duelists of the Primarchs would descend into brawling as they disarmed and wounded one another. Yet eventually, Curze would gain the upper hand. Denied the killing blow against the Lion, the Dark Angel's Seneschal, Corswain, would bury his sword in the back of the Night Haunter. Both legions would reinforce the Primarch's positions and drag their wounded liege lords from the skirmish. Yet when the legions would clash again, the Dark Angels would prove to be the greater strategists. Ambushing the Night Lord's fleet, the Primarchs would once again duel. Slaying the Night Lord's elite Atramentar and destroying the 8th Legion's fleet, the Dark Angels would prove to be an indomitable foe. Yet the Night Haunter would not be so easily slain, and escape the Lion within his own flagship.
Oh. Wait. I remember this. I think when I was learning about this from the Lion story, I believe what happened was Konrad hid on his ship, like he said there, and then from within, basically wiped everybody out on his way to go back up. And he pretty much messed them up pretty hardcore doing that too, if I'm remembering fully from that video. So, okay, now I know where we're at, and I'm starting to piece it all together. The more I learn each Primarch, I can take that puzzle piece and figure out where it's at and at what series of events. And eventually I'll watch a timeline so I can get it all in the correct order. But right now I'm enjoying figuring out where the parts move to and go. So now I know exactly where we're at when it comes to the Lion story. Alright.
For months, Konrad Curze would skulk the dark corners of the Dark Angel's flagship, Invincible Reason. Cut off from the wider Imperium with the birth of the Ruinstorm, the First Legion would relocate their might to the burgeoning Imperium Secundus of Ultramar. The home system of the Ultramarines Primarch, Rabute Guilliman, Macragge would be the seat of power for the contingent new Imperium should the Emperor be slain by the War Master.
Okay, so that's something I didn't know, or that he was supposed to take over if something happened to the Emperor. That bit surprised. Also, you guys were trying to tell me in the comments, and let me know if I got this correct, that Ultramar is Warhammer's way of naming things too many times that word, is the planet as well as the solar system or the system of planets that are, you know, that the Ultramarines run, I guess. So Ultramar is a planet as well as a location of planets. Something like that. It's confusing. But I think I might have that correct, or at least I simplified it, big time. But I know recently you guys were telling me in the comments about Ultramar, so I'm hoping I got this information right.
Yet upon the First Legion's arrival to Macragge, Curze would escape from the bowels of the Invincible Reason. Wreaking havoc among the populace of the Ultramarines' homeworld, the combined might of the Primarchs of the 1st, 13th, and newly arrived 9th Legions would hunt the Night Haunter. Primarch Roboute Guilliman of the Ultramarines would elect the Primarch of the Blood Angels, Sanguinius, as the Imperator Regis of their new contingent empire, with Lionel Johnson appointed as Lord Protector of the Imperium Secundus. It would be his duty to enforce the campaign to apprehend the Night Haunter. Despite the Dark Angel's attempts to thwart the rampage of Konrad Curze, the Night Haunter would come close to crippling the Loyalist research of the SOFA device, ministered by the Imperial Fist Captain, Alexis Pollux. Confronted by Roboute Guilliman and the Lion within the Fortress of Hera, Curze would detonate explosives concealed within the temple. Before dealing the killing blow, the Loyalist Primarchs would be rescued by the ministrations of the Loyalist Warsmith, Barabbas Antioch, and Alexis Pollux, by once more utilizing the SOFA device. Unaware of their survival, Curze would turn his attentions to add one final wound to the Ultramarines' Primarch. Within the capital city of Macragge, the Night Haunter would attempt to slay Roboute Guilliman's adoptive mother, Tarasha Uton.
Bad. No. Okay, wait, hold up. So, I'm trying to follow a series of events. So, he got off the ship, started causing problems, so they started hunting him. Two of the Primarchs went after him, and he didn't know that they survived their fight with him, so he continues onward to go and take out Roboute's mom. Now, from what I understand about Roboute's mom, which is why I'm like, no bad curse, is that his mom was pretty awesome. Like, a lot of you guys seem to like her, and from what I've learned about her, she sounds awesome. I actually need stories about this mom because she just sounds so cool. And to be honest, I think it's one of the only few mom characters that I've really come across so far. Every other one just background noise or doesn't exist at all. So she sounds awesome. But I'm hoping he doesn't actually get her, because what I know about her, she's pretty cool.
Hindered by the Space Wolves, appointed to monitor the Ultramarines' Primarch, Curze would nonetheless seemingly be unopposed in slaying the mother of the Lord of Ultramar.
Oh, okay.
Yet against the odds, the reborn Primarch of the Salamanders, Vulcan, would face Curze.
Wait, I'm confused. So did he get her or not? Let me know in the comments. Sounds like he did. And that by doing that, he pretty much opened the door for them to get him. Man, that sucks because she was cool. Oh well. I mean, it's how it goes in a story, but see, now Konrad, you have to die. You don't mess with moms. That's a no-no line. You don't cross that line.
In spite of the intervention of the perpetual John Grammaticus and Curze's banishment into the Warp, the Night Haunter would not be denied so easily. Infiltrating the throne room of Macragge, the Night Haunter would confront his vision-attuned brother, Sanguinius. Seeking answers for why the Great Angel still remained loyal, despite the visions that he had endured, Curze would never understand the loyalty he had shown the Emperor. Offering Sanguinius the chance to end his misery, the Great Angel would abstain from slaying his brother,
because he's
and
awesome.
Curze would escape once more into the dark corners of Macragge. With the return of Lionel Johnson and Roboute Guilliman, Curze would finally be brought to justice. Captured and brought before trial to judge him for his crimes. The proceedings would be conducted by...
Oh, I remember this. This scene got me really, really confused. Because I know that they judge him and then they let him go or decide not to kill him. Not let him go, but decide not to kill him. Which I thought was, like, not especially a smart idea. And I get why Rabute is mad. It's like, hey, you touched Mom. Bad. And Sanguinius, well, he's got reasons. We don't question my Primarch. It's just he has his reasons.
By the Emperor of Imperium Secundus, Sanguinius. Admitting to his actions, Curze would not accept any guilt for his misdeeds. Turning the Lion and Guilliman against one another due to the methods the Lord of the First had used to root out the Night Haunter, the Lords of Imperium Secundus would fracture. Dissolving their new Imperium, Guilliman and Sanguinius would in private decide to execute the Night Haunter, yet with the intervention of Lionel
See, Sanguinius wanted him gone. See, my Primarch understood. He knew what would happen. You leave the crazy guy alive.
Johnson stay their hand.
Boo.
Repeating Curze's claim to observe his own death at the hands of an agent of the Emperor, the Lion would surmise that the Emperor still ruled Holy Terror. Hope burgeoned in the hearts of the Primarchs, and with Sanguinius' own visions of his death at the hands of the War Master, the Loyalists with Curze in their custody would venture to breach the Ruin Storm. Chaining the Night Haunter within the bowels of the Invincible Reason, the Lion would endure the taunts of his degenerate brother.
That's not gonna work.
Upon the world of Darwin, the Primarchs would drag Curze to the temple, wherein the War Master had been first corrupted. With the eruption of demons from a portal within the temple, Curze would once more be shackled within the Dark Angel's flagship, as the Loyalists countered the
Okay, do I have to say why I like that picture? That is a beautiful picture. And it's moving, and it's so nice. I'm alright, I can control myself.
demonic incursion. Finding a means to breach the storm, the Dark Angels and Ultramarines would buy time for Sanguinius and his Blood Angels to venture to Holy Terror. Taking custody of the Night Haunter, Sanguinius would bring to him the Emperor's judgment. Yet once aboard the Red Tier, Curze would be confined within a stasis coffin and jettisoned into space by the Great Angel.
Wait, so my Primarch not only thought, okay, well, I wanted to off this guy, they wouldn't let me. I'm going to put him in a coffin and then just shoot him into space. Not sure the logic there, but it's funny. I'm just thinking he's just going to land somewhere and cause problems, right? Because that's usually how that goes, but okay.
Sanguinius would tell the Night Haunter that, alike to himself, he must follow his own envisioned path. Adrift for many years, Curze would survive into the following millennia. The Horus Heresy would end, with the Emperor slaying the War Master, and the traitors scattering across the stars. Discovering the salvage ship, Sheldron, the stasis pod would unknowingly release the Night Haunter among their crew. Assuming control of the vessel, Curze would journey for 4 years once more to Sagwalza and reunite with his disparate gene sons. Reuniting his legion, Curze would enshrine the Night Lord's base of operations upon the Carrion world. Accepting his prophesied fate, the Night Haunter would guide his legion on a path of self-sufficiency without his presence and await his killer. The Calidus assassin, M. Shen, would discover the Dark King upon his Carrion throne. Okay. Unguarded, and with no obstacles preventing the assassin's path, the Godslayer would act. Slicing the Night Haunter's head from his body, the torment of Konrad Curze had finally ended.
So this is who took him out, or this is just what we think the person looks like? I'm confused on who took him out and what. Was the assassin actually sent from the Imperium or from one of the legions? I'm tad confused. Yeah.
Yet whispers across the galaxy persist that the spectre of death shall one day return against all odds and records of his demise.
Whenever GW needs more money.
For the shadow of the Night Haunter still stalks the galaxy, with the Night Lord's continued defilement of the Imperium in his name.
Okay.
By reason, by truth, I have learned how your hearts and minds function. With that law, I brought peace to this culture.
Then I blew
At the
it up.
cost of freedom. The Night Haunter drew in a slow breath through his knife-slit smile.
Peace reigns as I reign. I wouldn't expect your little minds to understand. You are a little man with little dreams.
You've ushered in the peace of the graveyard. The noble dared to take a step closer. Peace at the cost of surrendering all choice, all freedom. The city lives in terror, forced to live by the standards you place upon our shoulders.
Yes,
the Night Haunter replied.
Yes.
But
At
every
least he's
sin
honest.
Is punished.
The Night Haunter listened to their hearts beating blood through their bodies. But punishment by death, no matter the crime, no matter the scale of the sin, the people of the city live in silence, lest a single word earn them death for speaking out against you.
Yes.
The Night Haunter closed his dark eyes, as if listening to that very silence drifting across the city.
Listen. Listen to the sound of raw silence. Is it not serene?
Interesting.
This has been a tale of the great Imperium of Man, read by the Remembrancer. The Dark King of Nostromo would live his life convinced that his destiny had been sealed. Yet the Emperor teaches us that there are many futures that we must choose, for we are not the pawns of fate. For in my next transmission, we shall elucidate a Primarch whose future had been stolen from his grasp. The tortured gladiatorial slave of Nuceria, Angron.
Angron, I think that's the one I was thinking. Okay, so first of all, check the description. There will be a link to this video. The Remembrancer, I know you guys are probably subscribed to him, but if for some reason you're not, definitely subscribe and give him a like. This was great. You guys have been trying to prepare me for Konrad for a while, and some of you really kept that nice and quiet, so I appreciate that. I like the surprise as well, but some of that I did not expect. The brain eating thing. Yep. So I just have a few things. Let me know in the comments if you guys can. How did he actually go out? Was it really an assassin sent by his father? Because I thought that was the Vision, or was somebody else? And was it that really badass looking chick, or was it somebody else? Because either way, I'm curious of what actually happened there. I know this is a for those who might not be aware, this is a toe dip. This is just for me to get a rough idea of the Primarch and things like that. So I will hopefully do a deeper dive later. But I do like asking questions because you guys always tell me so much good lore in the comments, and I enjoy reading it. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any additional information on that. And also, are you a fan of the Night Lords? Is it one of your favorite legions, or are you against them? Let me know also in the comments. I think they're awesome. If I wasn't such a sanguineous fangirl, I would probably be getting minis of Night Lords just because of their look. They're just amazing, like with their armor and their aesthetic. Not so much like yay brutality, but sometimes the darker stuff, the chaos ones, are pretty fun. And this one is to me was fun, especially looking at the art. It was a blast. I am so happy I got to learn about this one. But yeah, it's that point in the video for me to say a couple things. First, if you made it to this point, you're awesome, you rock, and you know it. I've said that many times, and it's still true. And also, it is the time for the magic words of YouTube, which is if you like that video, leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to go take a break and think about some of this stuff because my mind is still a bit blown on the crawling up out of the earth. Somebody tries to eat you, then you become a brain-eating guy. You rule a whole planet that if they do anything, they could get killed. It's fascinating. But yeah. Until next time, I want you all to take care. Bye-bye.